In today's video I will try to recreate the fly I've seen online, and it was tied by Chris Williams. It's spent done, and it's beautiful fly that incorporates some of my favorite natural materials: CDC, Coq de Leon and partridge feather, and stripped peacock barb. So there is literally nothing wrong with those materials. Like, perfect little fly. Now I will try to tell you something about my flow of thoughts while I was tying it, because when you don't have input, when you're trying to recreate something yourself, then you end up with sometimes rather different results, maybe some different solutions. But then later on I was talking to Chris, and he gave me some input that I will pass on to you. So I hope you will enjoy it. So in regards to materials, as you can see, tail is Coq de Leon, split in three, forked in three sides, meaning that it will actually support your fly better on the surface, because it has more surface tension than if you just put three those barbs together. Then you have peacock barb stripped quill, peacock barb stripped, which has very nice, beautiful segmentation. It adds to realistic appearance of this fly. Then for legs, there is partridge. It has some movement. It has some speckles as like joints on the fish, on the fly's legs. And then there you have CDC in spent style that actually makes this fly, I think, irresistible, because this footprint that this fly will have is, like, in my opinion, super realistic, and everything about this fly is literally screaming movement, realism, real fly, just eat me. So guys, without any further ado, let's just hop into tying. I will show you a couple of my flies first, but then let's see how I did it. So this was my first attempt. Doesn't look so bad, doesn't look so good, but as you can see, this wing is flat, like parallel to the surface, while the other wing is not. It's tilted kind of vertically. Tails are not split as nicely as I would like them to be, and partridge feather gave me some trouble while I was wrapping it, because the rakis was a bit thicker and pithy, and it wasn't just good choice for this fly. Now, second attempt was this one, way better in my opinion. Everything worked much better. I used a bit different partridge feather this time, but everything worked pretty well. And the third one, after I talked to Chris, was again not so good, because I messed up. You can see that those wings are not aligned together. The partridge wasn't nicely wrapped around. Tail and body are good, but like everything else I messed up, and mostly because I went out of my comfort zone, tying in first partridge feather, then tail, then body, and then wing and thorax, which for me just didn't work. Now, the way I found it worked best for me, so there's always more ways to skin a cat, and this is my way. So without any further ado, let's just hop into tying of this fly, and I'll just lead you through it. So the hook is TMCO 900BL. Tail, as I said, is going to be Coq de Leon. Body is going to be peacock barb stripped. These are peacock quills from Poland, I think. Yeah, Polish quills, yes. And then I have some CDC and some fur with some ice stubbing inside, mixed together. That I can make a very thin dubbing noodle using those. CDC, it is important to use two almost matching CDC feathers, and I like those that have triangular shape, because all the barbs, when you collect them together, they will collect and align at the tips, meaning that they will use most of this feather. I also like to use those underdeveloped feathers, because they have those barbs already put together. You don't have to work too much to gather them. As you can see, they're like well together, while if you use like well developed feather, all those barbs would go sideways. You have to work your way towards the tip, and it just doesn't work as well, but it's still easy to do that. Now I'll just lead you through the tying process. The thread I'm going to use is Simperfly Nano Silk 80 in red. And first thing I will do, because it's slippery thread, I'm going to wax it. Just beeswax. I run my thread twice through it. I run my fingers twice through it to remove the excess wax, and then I'll do reverse jam hitch, meaning that my left non-dominant hand goes under and over and in front of the thread, tying thread, and then you make your wraps towards the hook eye as tight as you can without unwinding everything. But if you try harder, you will notice that they're not still catching everything. Now I can actually catch this tag and pull it forward, which means it's locked. Now the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to create everything from the back. Like I want to have this thread layer base over here. Now counterspin the bobbin holder and stop where you want to stop everything, where you want your thorax to begin. For the tail, I said I will use Coq de Leon feather, and I use only 3 barbs, aligned at the tips and forked in 3. So align them, pull them away, and then measure. What I do is, you can place your nail and touch your nail, and then remember the speckle that was over there. Transfer that speckle towards the back, align it with a hook bend, and that's it. Now I will counterspin the bobbin holder over here. I cut this feather barbs are a little bit too much at the beginning, too short. I'll just gather them at the top. With flat thread, I'll go backwards, catching everything up. So I stop here. You can see the tail slightly bent over there. 1 wrap back, and then I'll take orange thread just for you to see better what I'm doing next, and it's forking the tails. You can use the tag. You just leave this tag of your tying thread a bit longer and cut it off, and you use that tag for splitting those tails. I'll just pull my finger under, splay those tails so I can just manipulate them a little bit easier, and then pull far side away from you, pull near tail towards you. Fork them a little bit with your hands like so, and then to put them into place, go around the hook band with a thread, and then just with this loop put this middle barb into the loop, and then just go up. Then when you go forward, it is important not to go too much, because you will just jump over those tails. Instead of that, just go gently, make 2 loose wraps, then pull this tag end and splay fork tails as much as you want. Okay, now tighten everything up, I'll just cut it here. Now it's time to use some stripped quills. Well, they're technically barbs, but it says quills. So counterspin the bobbin holder, so the thread jumps into the tails, and then place this lighter colored facing downwards always, so the black one will actually follow later. Counterspin the bobbin, I'll catch this softly like so, and with soft wraps I'll go backwards, leaving a little bit of room over here for the peacock barb to actually make 1 revolution under it. Then I'll just build up the taper in front. Counterspin the bobbin holder from time to time to flatten the thread, and flat thread will actually allow you to build up nicer taper or this fly, more accurate, precise. And I will start wrapping it. So first wrap goes, as you can see, under the tail, under the hook. It avoids the tails, that's very important, that's why I put it on the far side. And then I can just use rotational function of my vise to lead the rest of the peacock barb where I want it to go. Notice the slight taper towards the front. It also helps for this barb to transition towards the thorax area. Okay, I'm unwrapping wraps that I don't need over here. So one wrap is more or less enough to hold everything in place if you hold the bobbin holder. And then cut this relatively close and go over this tag with your thread, and that locks it where you want it. I'm building thread base over here to allow CDC to lay better. Now I will use those feathers one by one. So I want them to be more or less hook length. And so counter spin the bobbin again. And then I need to lean it towards me so I see better what I'm doing. Relatively soft wrap, and then pull out. Okay, I'll just measure using my scissors if this is the length I want. Okay, yes it is. Now I'll keep those scissors open as they are. Catch the wing, and that's the first one. I'll cut it not so close because I want to catch those barbs additionally to secure the wing in place better. So this is thorax area, so I'm not so worried about build-up over here. Now I'll do the same for the other side. I'll place the wing across. I'll do soft wraps, 2, and then just pull it through it. And when I'm kind of satisfied, oh, I closed my scissors, that's not so very smart of me. Then again, I can always measure it, see if it works well again. Yeah, it does, that's it. No need to correct anything. So just go towards the front, tighten everything here. Now one of the things Chris told me, and it was very helpful, is to make kind of post wraps around your wings, and I will show you what I mean by that when I reach and level those two wings together. Okay, so what he meant was doing this, like you're going to make a kind of a parachute post over here. So just 1, 2 wraps I guess is enough. Okay, that locks wing into place. Let me see this one. This one needs to go a little bit further to the front. Okay, wrap around, hold it, and go around here. Check if everything is right where it belongs. Position everything where you want it. More. Okay, level it up. Okay. Now, what is important when you're making fly for the first time? It is important, any fly, to plan the fly. So where you want your body to stop, how much space you need in front for the hackle and stuff like that. So I left quite a bit of space here, so I can allow myself to wrap maybe 2, maybe 3 wraps of soft hackle. Now before I start doing the soft hackle, I will use my dubbing, which has a lot of underfur, but a bit, not too much guard hairs, as you can see, but it also has some UV Calibatis dubbing, just to make some sheen over here. So I'll make as thin noodle as I can, because I want to make a couple of figure 8s around those wings. I want to make them, to fix them into position like permanently. I want to lean them back a little bit as well. And having very thin dubbing noodle helps to have more reps, meaning more control over everything. And actually the dubbing will stay better on the thread if it's thinner noodle rather than the thick one. So I'll just go cover up the back part over here, and then I'll just go in those figure of 8s. Okay, now as you can see here, it's almost like a straight line, meaning that when I start wrapping the partridge hackle, it will be easier for me to wrap it in front of it. I will make wraps towards the hook eye. Now let me see if I have enough room for that. This should be okay, but let me see. I'll just use thread to manipulate it a bit more. Now, I'm not using real partridge, I'm using this bamboo partridge. I just like the feather, but the original fly, as you could see, was tied with partridge feather. Although Chris also told me that he likes to use teal wing covers. I think he said, like, it's the name of the wing of the feather, because he said they are more rigid, they're not as soft hackle, they're a bit more stiff, and they aid fly when it comes to buoyancy. So I'll choose something that will kind of resemble everything of that. That's this very nice little soft hackle here. Now if you go into thick part of Reikis and you start wrapping from the lower part of the feather, it's going to be very unpredictable, like it will twist on you. But if you start wrapping from the tip part, it's actually quite more easier to wrap everything down. So first of all, I will fold the feather. By folding, I mean this. I will not use this part here, I will just use to wrap these barbs over here in the middle, well, what's left of the feather, and I'll just pull them away, all on one side, so I have more control when I wrap. Okay, now I'll take the tip like so and cut this tip off. Now, a very important moment is to counterspin the bobbin holder so the thread jumps towards you, towards your left hand. Catch this over here with 2 soft wraps, let it slide, and then here you can start catching it a bit more tight. Okay, I come back. Now, hackle pliers again. As you can see, all those barbs are going to be on one side, making it much easier to wrap this hackle around. Okay, he said he likes to overdress it just for buoyancy's sake, and I think this is more than good. Okay, just enough room to tie a nice little head. So catch the barb of Reikis over here. Okay, flatten the thread and make a whip finish knot. Yes, those little barbs are annoying. CDC barbs, oh, never mind. Just try to sweep them back. Oops. Ooh, uh-oh. I made a mistake. Luckily I'm holding the feather. I made a mistake. My thread jumped and untied. Luckily I was holding feather very tightly, so it didn't unwind, which is good. And I had this little piece of barb that stayed tight. Okay, just cut it relatively close, but not too close. Never mind. Everything is well. I'll do one more whip finish. I'll actually try to hide the CDC barb that's sticking out, like so. And that's it. Kind of cheating over here, but never mind, I guess. Now what I did, by manipulating everything, I displaced those wings, but as you can see, just small movement and everything is going to be into place again. Good thing about these wings, I did something before similar, but not like this fly obviously, is that you can like put them up, put them away, make them in spent, make them in done, and they will stay like that. And that's very useful when you want to change what you want to do with your fly. So guys, this would be it. Chris Williams spent done. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, share the video if you can. See you next week.